How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Creative Process. As you know, my name is Jaden, and right next to me I have Sally. How are we doing today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
I love you, like, oh, I think I am okay. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I always have to check. It's like, I think, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I'm very happy to hear that. And I want to first of all say a huge thank you to inviting me into your home and, taking the time as well out of your busy schedule to come onto the channel and talk about what you do when it comes to the creative arts. I really do appreciate you taking this time.
Oh, thanks for asking me. It's not often I get requests for interviews. I'm not a influencer or a reality TV winner.
She's being too hard on herself. But no, like, I've heard so many great things about you from so many others, so I'm just like, no, I definitely need to have finally meet Sallie after all this time.
That's very nice of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair of them to do so.
Yeah. Amazing. And so I guess for people who are watching, tell us, what do you do with yourself when it comes to the creative arts?
So I guess burlesque performer would probably be the too long didn't read version. I've been dancing for a while, but yeah, I started sort of more with pole and aerial hoop or lyra, and then sort of made my way to burlesque. So
amazing. How long ago did you, because you said you had that dance and pole background, how long ago did you start that journey, and when did you start going into burlesque?
So I danced as a little kid, so I don't know if it's just a New South Wales thing where I'm from, or it's a dance called physical culture. Where basically it's kind of like, I kind of describe it as a combination of like aerobics, maybe calisthenics, dance and beauty pageants. So it's like, basically most of it involved me fake tanning a lot, wearing leotards, very big hair and lots of makeup from a very young age, and sort of did that for a while. That was sort of like my childhood dance thing, because I was always more interested in dance than, say, sport or anything like that. Not a sport person. And then I decided to give pole dancing a try when I moved here to Melbourne. So that was about 2016. And sort of an interest in that led to an interest in aerial hoop, because my studio offers both. And then I think I went from sort of, again, going back into the world of wearing leotards and big hair and lots of makeup, into burlesque, where I still wear all of that, but now I take parts of it off for people. So
amazing.
That's sort of how I came by that.
It's quite an interesting journey, how you kind of went from one to another and you kind of it seems like it's like for you it's always been the dance aspect that you've been so fascinated with, and so for you, and it seems like that when you now that you've stopped at burlesque, you're like, you know what, this is, I think, what I've been kind of waiting to explore into, and what I feel comfortable going, no, this is what I want to do, and I think that's pretty cool. It's sort of one of those things where it took me a few things to sort of get the most comfortable, I think. Absolutely. And sometimes you got to take those journeys of trying to exploring these different aspects, and sometimes I think it's okay if like one aspect doesn't work and you're like, I'm not sure about that, but I tried it, but then sometimes it goes from another one, and then you're like, okay, this is a little bit better, but still I'm not sure, but then you find the right one, you're like, this is what I've been looking for, this is it.
That's the one.
And it seems like that was what it was like for you, just going like from one to another, and then you found burlesque and you're like, no, this is it. This is what I've been searching for. Yeah,
definitely. It's sort of like, I still love pole dancing. Like I performed for a pole show recently, but it's that sort of thing where it was sort of building up, feeling confident, feeling comfortable, but also finding, for me, sort of the dancing is the main part, and the performing is because I love attention. I am a Libra after all. But I guess the community kind of is what kind of sort of allowed me to sort of feel like I could do burlesque more regularly, and I could perform as a solo artist, and I could actually build up that sort of I don't know a brand, or that was my thing that I felt confident in, that I can offer to an audience. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Sounds like it's been a really great journey discovering all this.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been sort of the way I suppose moving from Newcastle, where I grew up, and having friends there, to moving to Melbourne, where I had friends, but I sort of, I guess, to reach out to other people in Melbourne, dance has been the way I've done that. It's hard to make friends when you're older, I think, and work was one way, but you know, when you move on from jobs, you move on from roles, you kind of sometimes lose touch with people. So dance has kind of been the way that I've made friends who are Melbourne friends. Yeah.
Definitely. I think a lot of the, you know, when I've had a lot of these conversations with creatives, it's like a lot of their closest friends are from, you know, the art community that they're part of, because it's like, you know, you share the same passions as each other. Yeah, and definitely. I think, you know, obviously when you're at work, you know, you're there to work. You sometimes do make friends at work.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you are part of an art community, you're all there with the same passion and with the same creativity, so you are able to kind of connect a lot more with going like, oh yeah, no, we share this common, and it's like, oh yeah, no, it's like that, you know, and so you kick it off like that. And so I definitely get that myself. Like I've made a lot of friends during this community while I've been part of this community, and it's definitely a really amazing community that we're part of. I think I know more people in Melbourne than I do in my hometown that I lived in for like the 30 odd years of my life. And that's saying something. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Yeah. And I guess, you know, like talking about with burlesque and that sort of thing, like I guess, you know, I like to ask this as with performers who are part of this art form, where it's sometimes known as it is known as the art of tease burlesque. When it comes to, I guess, the nudity aspect of burlesque, was it something that you had to learn to be comfortable with, or was it something that you've always been comfortable with? Definitely had to learn along the way. I'm someone who's sort of growing up like as someone who's, I guess, I use the term fat or plus size. It's sort of been a long journey of feeling like, you know, I'm not, my body type is not represented a lot in the mainstream media that I watched growing up, or burlesque and pole were sort of places where I started to see that a lot of women, different body shapes, or a lot of people of different genders as well, being comfortable with their body. But yeah, I mean, I think my first burlesque class, I did one where there wasn't you didn't reveal, like do what we call a pasty reveal, because I was really nervous about the idea of taking my top off for a room full of people I don't know. Yeah. And there was something about watching how empowered everyone felt and how much the crowd went absolutely nuts for it. Every single time, every performance at this show, that I was like, oh, I think I want to get involved in that. I think that would be really fun. Like, for me, my sort of body confidence sort of started from tattoos and dance. So, you know, kind of like spending thousands of money having people's artwork tattooed on me, I was like, well, now I have to show them off. But also, like, the sort of the confidence of dancing and being in such an inclusive community. Yeah. And, you know, sort of it's not always perfect. I don't always feel comfortable, and sometimes I watch things and I'm like, oh, who's that? Like, no, thank you. We definitely all have our days. There are days when I'm like, oh, why did I do that? That's weird. But it's been a journey, and I'm glad I'm on it, because, you know, I have friends who sort of say, oh, you know, I see the pictures, I see what you post, I see you performing, and like it's so good, like it makes me want to do it.
yeah, it's taken me a while. It definitely didn't always start out very confident in myself at all.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's kind of the Sallie Cinnamon persona is sort of the most extreme version of me, and sometimes I'm her and sometimes I'm just me.
Just Sallie.
Yeah, just Sallie.
Amazing. And I think that's definitely, for me, what stood out for the burlesque community as well, is just the amount of acceptance towards body positivity and, you know, accepting of all genders, all sexualities. And I think that, for me, was just amazing to see that. And I sometimes feel like some, you know, as you said, mainstream to other art forms might be missing a little bit of. Like, I think it is definitely getting a lot better than what it was, but, like, I think definitely could be a lot better. But, like, when it comes to burlesque, I think that, for me, was one of the most amazing things where, like, I'm at these performances and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's, you know, all these powerful people who are on stage.
Yeah.
Just confident in who they are and just, you know, empowered by themselves, and everyone's like going, hell yeah, you know, just, it's amazing. It's such an incredible atmosphere, and, you know, I think it's, you know, it seems like for you that has been something that has helped you with, you know, being comfortable and, in a way, being in love with yourself, you know, and who you are.
Yeah. I mean, I like to say I'm very lovable. No.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's that thing as well, like being part of that community has sort of made a huge difference in my life and the way I see myself, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds like, been a great journey for you to discover this.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And so I guess, you know, we're talking about your performances and all that sort of thing, because you did mention to me off camera. So what is, I guess, the main performance that people know you for, like, when it comes to, like, your burlesque performing?
I would say my acts somehow include food now. Particularly pizza. I mean, it's great. I do love pizza, but
who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. I think probably the main word that gets used in terms of my performances is camp. So very campy, very cheesy. I try to be very comic, like comedic, or I think my style would be considered comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. One of the main acts I do is a reverse striptease, where I sort of get more sensual and comfortable by putting clothes on, because I'm getting ready to eat the pizza I've just picked up.
Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, there's comedy, cheesy. I think my greatest strength is also my biggest concern is that I think I'm a messy clown. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm a messy clown in a bad way, but hopefully people think I'm a messy clown in a good way.
No, I think, you know, like, nothing wrong with using a bit of food on stage. Like, I think that's, I love that, and especially pizza. Who doesn't, as you say, who doesn't like pizza?
Yeah, it's very relatable, I've been told.
But I really love the way that you've explained, because you were explaining to me before how it's the what did you call it? The reversal strip, in
reverse
a way, where
strip
it's like, because you said that you start in stripping off, but then you strip back on, and so it's such a really interesting kind of, like, you go that and you go it, and it's like, you know, it's like, it's such a it's something very different as well, and I think that's really interesting. Like, was that always, I guess, your idea? Like, when you were coming up with this performance, did you think to yourself going, all right, I'm gonna, you know, start with taking my clothes off, but then I'm gonna then put clothes back on? Like, was that always the idea?
Yeah, sort of. I sort of, it stemmed from a couple of things, in that I think I made a joke on Twitter once that if I was ever a stripper, then my act would be putting a comfortable cardigan on. Which was mostly a joke born out of, you know, the idea of who would pay to see me strip, essentially. But now people pay to see me strip, so yay. I love it. So it kind of went from there, and then I, sort of a friend of mine who is also like a pole instructor, performed at a competition where it's actually like, it's sort of exotic dancing but without pole. So they performed, and I sort of watched that. It was a competition, but I watched that competition thinking, oh, I'd love to do that next time it's on.
Yeah.
And the idea I had was, what if my idea was I was putting clothes on and getting really comfortable and relaxed and very sensual.
Yeah.
But, you know, when the delivery person comes to the door, I actually just want the pizza. So yeah.
Love it.
My style is I tend to have an idea, talk about it to anyone who'll listen, and then like maybe a year later actually sort of try putting it together and then put it together really quickly in time for some unrealistic deadline. So it was basically, and I first performed it during COVID. So my solo debut burlesque act was performed here in my living room. To Zoom.
In the comfort of your own home?
In the comfort of my own home, with plenty of lamps sort of lighting things for me. So it eventually sort of became, the idea eventually became that I was coming home from work, I'd picked up a pizza on the way home, strip out of my clothes because it's like, can't wait to get out of them fast enough, and then slowly put clothes on, because the idea, the tease wasn't, are you going to see my boobs?
Yeah.
You know, which, spoiler alert, yes. The real tease was, is anyone going to see this pizza? Is any?
Yeah.
Am I going to eat it on stage? What am I going to do with it? That's the whole, so the art of the tease of eating food on stage,
I love it, and it's such it's kind of like one of those relatable things of like how many times we've come back from work and we have food, and it's like before, because like I've even had times where like I have that moment where I get home from work and I have food in my hand and I'm like, I want to get into something comfy. Like it's just like, I don't know if it's like just you don't really want to eat in work clothes just because you don't want to get them dirty, but then it's also just like you just don't want to feel like you're in your work uniform, like especially if it's something that you're not really, it's not really your style, you know what I mean?
If you're business casual or business you're just casual,
like, I don't need to get out of this now, and then just put something that is me. And so I feel like it's such a relatable something that everyone can relate to, and I love that you've taken something that, you know, people can go, oh yeah, no, I've been there, done that, and then you've added that comedy aspect, which I absolutely love. But I think that's the cool thing with burlesque, and I've said this to so many people, is that there's no limitation to what you do or what you can do. And I think that's really cool how, like, and it, as I said, like, the amount of times I've tried to explain burlesque to someone, I've now just had to, and I've said this so many times in videos, I've just now had to say to someone, I think you're just going to have to go to performance to understand what it is, because if I tell you one aspect of it, you're going to go to a show and expect that, but then it might end up being something completely different. So I'm just like, I've now just gotten to the point where I'm like, you maybe just go to a show, because I think it's better to see it with your own eyes to understand what burlesque is.
I think it's definitely, you know, I'm no expert. I'll leave Velma Vouloir to be the expert on burlesque history. But I guess the idea's always been of performing something fun, or you know, performing something a little bit scandalous, or you know, being silly on stage. Which I think I'm fitting the brief of being very silly on stage.
And so for you, that's what your main performances are more about, just doing something silly on stage, or just doing some funny stuff, and the comedic side of it. I'm someone who, I have friends who are able to dance and really evoke a lot of emotions, or create really, sort of haunting performances. But I can't, I'm not someone who can do that. I'm very much a deflect from trauma with comedy. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna make people laugh, I think, instead. But I think it's also like in that aspect of it's like how people deal with it. Some people deal with it by kind of trying to, obviously not in a bad way, but like turn into a bit of a comedy aspect. But some people like have just different ways of dealing with it, and like I've known some people who try and do that with their own like trauma. They try and smile, they try and laugh, but inside you just know that they are suffering and all that sort of thing. But it's just their coping mechanism in a way.
Yeah. I think I come from a long line of diffusing awkward situations with jokes, so it makes sense that my burlesque, like my performance style, is mostly that. And I think I've sort of set myself a bit of a challenge to explore sort of different aspects and maybe explore different, like, you know, give myself different challenges in terms of performing. But yeah, it's always very much around comedy or, you know, turning something traditional, I guess, on its head. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. And I guess talking about like your you know, performances and all that sort of thing, I guess as a bit of a final question, like, do you have any like future performances that you're working towards, like future acts and all that sort of thing? Like, what are some of the things that you're working towards right now?
Well, most of the people that I ask for help with performing would say I'm working on too many.
I think that's with every creative. We work on too many projects we can handle.
Yeah.
We can't handle one.
It's when I come up with the most ideas. It's when I'm supposed to be focusing on one. I have a show. I'm debuting a new act soon at the Maison Burlesque solo showcase on 1st of May at Howler. It's something different. It's different, but sort of, I guess it's sort of staying in that campy kind of world, but sort of it's sort of it's something I haven't really tried before that's hopefully going to be interesting, that people like. And I still try to do perform, you know, sort of at pole shows or pole competitions that we do, so I probably thinking of something for that. You know, if anyone's fans of ice skating and the Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan feud, they might find something interesting to watch in sort of the next sort of Lyra performance that I have in mind. Yeah, that's interesting. But sort of working on various things. I've got so many things that are just in various stages of progress.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Somewhere I'm like, I'm getting the costume done, or you know, I've got it all ready to go. I just need the actual, you know, competition to perform at and things like that. Yeah.
I've got this idea coming up. It's like, no, just focus on one idea right now. That's my problem as well. I have all these ideas, and sometimes I'm like, I have to say, Jaden, just take one at a time. Like your head's gonna explode eventually, because you're just gonna have so many ideas where you're like, do this, and you're just like, I need to sit down for a second.
Look, I was asked to create a goals for 2022 document, and we decided after looking at those goals that we should take 2022 off it and just call it goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we've all had that time, but no, you'll have to let me know when you're performing next, because I'd love to come and support you and cheer you on in the audience. Like, I'm really excited to come and see one of those performances coming up. So it sounds fun. I'll definitely make some very awkward, uncomfortable eye contact with you during the show, and amazing. Love it. I love it. And so first of all, I want to say once again, thank you so much, Sallie, just for taking the time once again to come to the channel and talk to me. I really have enjoyed it, so thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I like I said, I'm a Libra and I love attention. So
amazing.
I love it.
Amazing. And so for everyone watching at home, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Creative Process. If you want to check out Sallie's amazing work, I'll leave links to everything of hers down below. If she's performing in your area, go and see her live, go and show her some love, go and show her some support, you know, cheer for her, you know, just, absolutely, just give her all the support. And
thank you.
So as I keep saying every video, let's keep supporting our amazing community. Go to shows, purchase prints, purchase merchandise. Let's keep supporting our amazing clubs at bars that support so many amazing creators and artists, performers. You know, as I said, we have the power to help these communities thrive, and, you know, just keep showing support. Even if it's sharing someone's work on social media, that one thing can help a huge amount. So let's just keep supporting our amazing community, and yeah, let's keep it going.
Sounds good.
And comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.